Hi everyone, thank you for inviting me to join you for the Physical Disabilities Awareness Unit with Understanding Disabilities. I always start my speeches by asking audience members in the room, who has met and spoken with a little person before? It doesn't count if you've only seen a little person on television or in movies. Go ahead, I encourage you to raise your hand if you've met a little person before. However, I'm well aware that most of you may have never met a little person before, and that's okay. I'm here today to show you that even though I'm short, I'm really no different than anyone else you may know. My name is Becky Curran Kekula, and I was born a little person, but more specifically, I have achondroplasia. I prefer to be called by my given name, Becky, but I'm also okay if you call me a little person or a dwarf. Having dwarfism explains why I stopped growing early and stand 4 feet tall as an adult. It also means that I have an average-sized torso along with shorter arms and legs. There are approximately 400 types of dwarfism, but my type, achondroplasia, is the most common. Each type of dwarfism may result in medical complications. I had 8 surgeries at the hospital while growing up, but I don't want people to feel bad for me. I also have friends who I met through Little People of America, which is an organization that provides support, resources, and information to individuals with dwarfism and their families who have had over 20 surgeries, and they don't want people to feel bad for them either. When I was first born, my parents had no clue what to expect. They didn't know that I was going to be a little person until the day that I was born. As a newborn, I looked a little bit like a character drawing that you get at a fair, where my head was significantly larger than the rest of my body. This was an implication that my life was going to be a little bit different than what one may consider as normal. Due to the lack of a full understanding towards dwarfism and potential sleep apnea, a sleep disorder in which breathing repeatedly stops and starts in the middle of the night, the doctors did not think that I was going to live through my first 24 hours on Earth. But here I am, 36 years later, and alive and kicking. My parents are not little people. In fact, my dad is over 6 feet tall. My mother is shorter than my father at 5 feet 1 inch, but she doesn't quite make the cut of standing below 4 feet 10 inches, which is the maximum height of a little person. This is not uncommon. 80% of little people are born to average height parents, which means that they're taller than 4 feet 10 inches. My sister, who is also average height, is 3.5 years older than me. We're sisters, and we also happen to be best friends. Growing up, the best thing that my family and friends did was to not treat me differently than anyone else. I've always wanted to have the same opportunities and face the same challenges that everyone else has to face. I grew up as an active participant alongside my average height peers in sailing, skiing, soccer, and swimming. I was on the high school sailing and swim teams and continued with sailing in college. I encourage all of you to find activities that you love and continue them throughout your childhood and adult lives. Fear of the unknown is a common feeling amongst most members of society. Since there are only about 30,000 little people out of over 328 million people living in the United States, most people may never meet a little person in their lifetime. This means that what people see on television and in movies is where their perceptions come from. Some people automatically assume that because I'm small, that I can't speak well. Once we have a conversation, they realize that I'm not very different from anyone else. I have the ability to maintain a life with normal conversations, jobs, physical activities, driving a car with pedal extensions, shopping for clothes, traveling, and relationships. I'm married to another little person. After finishing high school, I went to college. After college, I moved all the way from Massachusetts to Southern California. I spent 6 years working in Hollywood. After over 1,000 job applications, 100 interviews, and some temporary job assignments, I landed a job at the top talent agency in Hollywood. I worked there for 5 years. My favorite part of working there was meeting some very interesting people. On Fridays, during the lunch hour, I met with famous actors including Tom Hanks, who was the voice of Woody in Toy Story. I'm sure a lot of you have seen Toy Story. People often ask me if I could start my life over again, would I still choose to be a little person? I've always responded by saying that I would still want to be a little person, but one thing that I would change is the way that the outside world reacts to my physical differences. I'm here today, and I hope to educate the world in order to change these perceptions and the way that people react towards little people and all people with disabilities. I encourage all of you to not treat anyone differently, even if they may appear to be different. Treat others the way that you want to be treated in return. Take the opportunity to get to know and learn from them. Consider sharing your story with them as well. You may be surprised to find out how much you have in common. Everyone has a great story to share. Just like understanding disabilities teaches us, please continue to act compassionately and respectfully at school today and in society tomorrow. Thank you for allowing me to share my story with you. I hope you enjoy the photos. As a follow-up to the speech, I look forward to hearing your questions. Feel free to ask any questions you may have. To me, no question is offensive, and I'm more than happy to answer anything that may spark your curiosity. Just remember, all people want the same things: to be treated with kindness, to feel safe and included. We all want to be treated the same, no matter our abilities. We all want to be happy on this earth. And thank you.